KwaZulu-Natal ANC has reiterated its confidence in a dispute-free elective conference starting today. The party says there are only 3 disputes that are sitting with the National Dispute Resolution Committee. Current chairperson Sihle Zikalala against Finance Nomusa Dube-Ncube and businessman Sandile Zungu for the position of provincial chair among the 6 candidates vying for the Front Provincial Party's top post.
We've done the registration, we've concluded the registration. The only issue happening today is the collection of the checks. So that won't delay us in any way. Hence, I'm saying that because some of the delegates are traveling from far, if you come from far north and Newcastle, it's about a 4-hour drive coming this side, that can be the only issue which can delay us. So we envisage around about 11, we should be starting a conference because almost all the logistics have been in place. There are no issues which you can say can lead to any challenges or dispute that have been dealt with and attended to. There are only 3 matters which were still with the National Dispute Resolution Committee of the 3 branches. So beyond that, the overall majority of the delegates of the conference are expected in time. Most of them have left over around Durban. You would have seen from yesterday a number of them in a number of hotels. They are around Durban. So we don't foresee any challenge beyond that.
Ntombela says they are hoping to have the new chairperson by the end of day.
Well, the conference, of course, will be officially opened by the Treasurer General. Today, if everything goes accordingly based on our plan, is for the nomination and the voting for the officials to take place. As we sleep in the evening or in the early hours, you should be knowing who is the new chairperson of the province and the secretary and this collective, so that tomorrow the broader focus is on discussing policy discussion document, is on reflecting on the situation of the organization, reflecting on our past performance on the last general elections and the local elections. We have not done well. We have lost a number of municipalities. We have declined our electoral support. So we must give time to do that proper introspection so that as we prepare for 2024, there should be clarity on the ANC as an organization. KZN has got the largest membership of the ANC, got the largest population with the Gauteng. If we fail to do proper as the ANC in this province for 2024, that's got an impact for the ANC in the national election. So we can't afford to make that mistake.
For analysis of the political climate in KZN, I'm joined now by political analyst Zakhele Ndlovu. Zakhele, good morning. Thanks for speaking to us. Now, the last few ANC conferences have been marred by administrative challenges. What can we expect from this conference in the KZN?
Well, let's hope that this particular conference is going to go smooth. As I was listening to the spokesperson, he sounded very optimistic that everything is going to go well this weekend. So let's hope that things go smooth.
Well, let's talk about those that are vying, certainly for the chairmanship, alongside Sihle Zikalala, who went unopposed at last time round. Now, there are a number of other candidates that are hoping to emerge victorious come end of day. Talk to us about some of those candidates and what they have to offer the constituents of KZN.
Yeah, well, let me start with Mr. Sandile Zungu, who is a well-known businessman and the owner of Amazulu Football Club. He has made promises that he wants to turn things around and make the ANC a more responsive organization and a party that is not out of touch with not only the grassroots members of the ANC but also the people of South Africa at large. He is someone that is considered a successful businessman, but that does not mean that his success in business will translate into success in politics. And then you have MEC of Finance Nomusa Dube-Ncube. She's been MEC in KZN for quite some time. Before she became Minister of Finance, she was MEC of Kokta in KZN. And she is a well-known leader of the ANC in this province. And of course, you have the incumbent, Sihle Zikalala, who has been the leader of the ANC in this province. One of the interesting things about the ANC post-Zuma presidency is that it has become so divided. There was a time when the ANC in KZN was very much united when Zuma was the president. And since Zuma is no longer the president, we have seen how divided this province has become. And of course, Zuma's influence continues even after he left office. So I think the biggest question this weekend is going to be, is Zuma, does he still wield as much influence as he used to when he was the president of the ANC and the country?
Well, whilst we're there, let's talk a little bit about the factions, if you will, the RET forces present in KZN and their impact. Now, we understand that they control 9 of the 11 regions in KZN. Where does Sihle Zikalala stand as far as his allegiance is concerned? And will this be a factor?
Yeah, look, if you look at the regional conferences that have taken place, it does look like the RET forces have the upper hand. And if you look at Sihle Zikalala, it's not quite clear where he stands with the RET forces. Some have accused him of not being loyal enough to the former president. But I think he has tried to have it both ways, being seen as a Jacob Zuma sympathizer or supporter, and at the same time being seen as someone who is close to the current president. So at this point in time, it's not easy to tell where Sihle Zikalala stands with regard to the factions that exist here in KZN.
Now, as far as the RT forces are concerned, do you think that they have sufficient influence to determine who comes out as a provincial chair?
Yeah, as you well know, the face of the RET forces is the former president, Jacob Zuma. And as I indicated earlier on, he still continues to have significant influence in KZN politics. And we saw what happened with the regional conferences. I believe that the Musa Dladla region, even once the leadership was elected, went to Nkandla to see former President Jacob Zuma. So I think this conference is going to be the test of how much influence former President Jacob Zuma still enjoys in KZN. But I wouldn't be surprised if those who are aligned or associated with the RET forces emerge victorious in KZN. We've seen in other provinces the factions that are associated with the current president have done well in the Eastern Cape, in Mpumalanga province, Limpopo. But here in KwaZulu-Natal, anything can happen. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Zuma faction continues to have much influence in this province.
Now, there is also talk that the conference will determine the political futures of many leaders within the ANC, and amongst those are individuals like Zweli Mkhize, the former health minister. Where do you see his position post-conference?
Yeah, Zweli Mkhize is another interesting figure in KZN politics. But I think that his stepping down as the Minister of Finance has made his chances very slim. If he had remained as the Minister of Health, I think he would have maybe stood a better chance of making inroads in KZN. But he has been in the political wilderness, and we haven't seen much of him. And so I think that diminishes his chances of emerging as a force to be reckoned with. And as we prepare for this provincial conference this weekend, we have not heard much about those who are sympathetic to Zweli Mkhize. Instead, we are hearing about the RET forces which are associated with former President Jacob Zuma.
Now, what we are well aware of is that this is the ANC's, by number, largest province, and it's said that it will impact, well, the outcome of this will impact the December conference. What is your take on that?
Well, my take is that in the past, if you look at KZN, it was always very much united, and of course, because of the numbers, it was easy for KZN to have significant influence at the national conference. But now, KZN ANC is no longer as united as it used to be. So I don't see it being as influential as they used to in past years, just because of the divisions that exist now in the province.
Now, are these divisions responsible for the contestation of top positions during this conference? Because it's almost unprecedented that there's so much jostling, if you will, for positions in KZN.
Yes, definitely. I mean, in the past, we would see like two slates or two factions contesting. But this time around, there are three. And as you know, there are three ANC leaders who are contesting the chairmanship position. So that to me speaks to the divisions that exist in KZN politics, and the future of many politicians is at stake here. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. My prediction would be, I don't think there's one particular slate that's going to win every position in the top five. We could see what we saw at the last national conference where Ramaphosa won the presidency, and then other positions like Secretary General were won by people from other factions. So we might see a repeat of that in this conference.
Now let's go back to July last year, and obviously the riots that occurred in KZN, followed by the flooding. So definitely issues around the economics of KZN seem to be taking center stage. And as you said, Sandile Zungu has talked about these economic issues and wanting to take KZN out of that quagmire, if you will. Will this be an issue? Has Sihle Zikalala done enough, in your opinion, to stay at the helm of the province?
Look, let's be quite frank here. There are so many challenges facing KZN, just like many other provinces. We have high unemployment. Our cities are decaying. I mean, if you look at downtown Durban, it's decaying, it's dirty, it smells. These kinds of things do not inspire confidence. I mean, if you look at the investors, if you're an investor and looking at what's been happening in Durban, for example, you wouldn't want to come and invest just because, under Sihle Zikalala, unfortunately, and of course, because I'm talking about Durban, which is a city in KZN, it has faced too many challenges. So the question is there anything different that Sandile Zungu would do if elected in this position? I would warn that it's always dangerous to pin hopes on an individual. I mean, many people believe that if Bekele were appointed Minister of Police, crime would come down, but we have seen that has not happened. And also, many people believe that if Ramaphosa were elected president of the country, our economy would perform much better. But that, again, has not happened. So I'm just warning against this idea that one individual would make a difference. Remember that being a leader of a political party or being a premier for that matter is like team sports where you have to work with people around you. So I would again caution that it is not a good idea to suggest that one individual could make a difference.
Zakhele Ndlovu is a political analyst with the University of KZN, and he was giving us that analysis ahead of the ANC KZN provincial conference, which commences this morning. Thank you for your time.